Get everything set up here. Sorry, so I had an unexpected break in my schedule today, right as all this madness in crypto is going on. Let me pause this for later. Hello, everybody out there. What do we got on the live stream? Let me throw this in Telegram real fast. Sorry, I kind of just very impromptu jumped on this. Give me a second to just ping this out here. All right, so we're going to talk about, was this capitulation? And I have some observations. Now, I don't know. Clearly, nobody knows yet. So it's going to take some time. Why is my... Sorry, my computer's being ridiculous. Trying to get things lined up here. How's everybody doing out there? Let's see who's all joining here. Let me throw some music for myself to listen to. Can y'all hear me pretty good? Let me know if y'all can hear me. Good afternoon. No problem. Oh yeah, we have the 80s synthwave going on there. Let me put on some. There's a channel called the Prime Thantanos or something like that. He's got some really good like Prime Thanatos, I guess is his name. But he's got some good like retro synthwave stuff back to the 80s synthwave. I never liked 80s music until all this 80s synthwave. The only thing I liked was like Michael Jackson. All right, and I'm in a t-shirt today because anyway, I was doing some other work. All right. So, you know, I had posted a bunch of stuff on Twitter earlier. I do want to share a bunch of stuff I was seeing on Twitter. There's a whole lot of stuff to share going on about, you know, is this capitulation? Here's the one. Yeah, Jeremy Meckler, I guess. Am I saying your name right, Jeremy, if you're out there? He's been tracking this for us. So I found this, this BBJI Resh. I started following him on Twitter because he, you know, this is, credit him for this. He added some additional context to a Wyckoff analysis here. It just, I'm not a Wyckoff trader. That's not how I trade. But this is a data point that I'm watching closely just because it's been tracking way too close to be entirely coincidence. Now, I firmly believe that Wyckoff patterns play out mostly because of psychology and secondarily maybe because some outside forces pushing things. I'm taking a sip of my coffee. And I don't necessarily know that this is 100% manipulation, but this is a bit too close of a corollary here. So if we had the bounce just now, what I'm waiting for is that test of that support right there. So let's go to the chart. And I've always waited for that. So my thesis has always been the risk reward favored waiting for a ridiculously low price like 26,000. Let me show you why I had that level. Okay. I had a couple levels here. These are Heath levels. See this one daily bearish candle, and then it resumed. That's going to provide support. That's an area to look for support. And then these bearish candles over here. And there's really a pair of them because you had an intermediate. So you had two bear candles, and you had a push to the upside. And so the reversal, so that was right here was a small impulse up, a small impulse down, another impulse up. So you can draw yourself another, it kind of gives you a range. Now people call these order blocks, people call these supply, people call these all kinds of things. I call them Heath levels because that's the accurate technical name. Just kidding. They will forever be known as Heath levels to me. All right. And what I did notice, so you know, the risk reward favored waiting for a breakdown to those levels, but this little wick down we had right here to 20, I had a level. This was actually the wick low in my Gemini feed. Let me find my Gemini feed for you. Yeah, you see the Gemini feed? I had that already marked off, that exact level marked off, and we touched that exactly. That's where the Gemini feed came into. So I've got some trend lines there built around that. This is the prime trend line. There's some price action over there. But I'm going to switch to my Coinbase feed for two reasons. One, if this is a spring, this makes sense. Coinbase didn't wick as low on the initial sell-off, and there's higher volume on Coinbase than there is on Gemini. So honestly, it's a little bit probably more trustworthy of a chart to stick with the Coinbase feed, which is the highest volume feed for now. All right. So if this is going to be on a 4-hour, whatever, I think what was Jeremy tracking this on? The 8-hour. He's following CTM. All right, he's tracking that pattern on the 8-hour. So what we should expect here, go back to his overlay. I've always, And this is like irrespective of the Wyckoff model. Like I don't care about the Wyckoff model. I care about this. We get this breakdown. You see that if I drew a trend line right here, where does that trend line break and retest and then resume off of? So you see, if I were to take this like Wyckoff, this chart, right? I'm just going to find some blank area on my chart here. All right, if we draw that Wyckoff chart just like it looks over here, right? This pattern here. Go back here. Yeah. If that pattern plays out, right? More or less, you get the idea. And then a big sell-off coming into it. All right, so something like this. All right, so if you take and you draw a level right here, and then you have your parabolic downtrend trend line, this is the break of that trend line. This is coming back in to test that support level and then resuming off of it. So, you know, that's what I would be looking for anyway for a potential try to catch the falling knife. It just happens to be interesting that this is really close. And you can see that shakeout level was, I mean, ridiculously close. And his was a Bitstamp feed. I think I have Bitstamp also another chart here. Nobody knows. I don't know. I thought earlier I was looking at just price action. I keep thinking that later this week there was something, I had something in my head with GBTC unlock or something that might cause further downside, but at any point in here, we're so close. This looks like capitulation. The volume on the downside was pretty heavy. Let me see if I can get a volume aggregator pulled up over here. Let's see if it's got an update for us. Let's go to the 1 hour. What's the latest here? Was that this morning? Let me go to the 1 day here again. Where's the 24 hour? All right. Oh, I want the. Oh, I need to go. Okay, that's what I need to do. Yeah, 622. You can see the volume here this morning was very high. And let's go to the 30-day chart. That's why we're looking at. Okay, so 620. This takes it to 620. Let's go back to like a 7-day chart. There we go. You see the volume was very high. This feels very much like a capitulation sell-off here if you look at the volume profile. We go back to 30 days. Yeah, we don't have 622 drawn in on this chart for some reason. 7 days is the best I'm going to get. I think I can probably change this to the daily time frame here. There we go. And look at this volume. No, this is the 20th again. If I do that, let's go back 30 days and leave it on the hourly. All right, perfect. You see the volume spike coming in here this morning. This feels very much like a capitulation bottom with the volume profile. So I think this will count as our spring now. And this is way too close. Now, granted, now that I see this, I should have tried to buy that dip right there. But have no fear. We're going to come back in and test the support level here soon. And that's a safer entry anyway. I'd rather pay just a little premium and get the safer entry. Let's take a look at comments. Good afternoon. Definitely a Wyckoff distribution. I mean, just look at this overlay and tell me that there's not some, you know, coincidental correlation there. We just got this big spring right here. So the spring should be up to, on this chart, 34,000, and then a test of, you know, say 31. So we're looking for a spring to about 34, which is, look at this. Interestingly enough, where does my trend line come in at? You see that outer trend line? That's the one I care about more. This one's just watching for that very first sign. This is the one I care about more. Coming into that 34,000 right there. Jeremy's chart. Boom, my trend line. Perfect. Touch of that trend line. Back down to 30,000. And then now you're touching this support. This is where we want to buy. So I will, not financial advice. Hold on. Where's my not financial advice? This is not financial advice. And I can only do a short session today. I've got many, many things to get back to today here. But we're just going to do it quick. Just sync up with everybody here. Where is my... Yeah, I mean, I'm not a licensed financial advisor. Anything you hear here, this is just for education, entertainment. You can craft your trading plan on your own, and if you feel like taking some input from what I've shared, then great. But don't bank on it. And if you do end up blindly following my advice, you're going to lose all your money, lose 1,000%. I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm talking about, and we end up living in a van down by the river. Okay, so just don't blindly follow anything I say. Volume's up a little bit. And the spring looks like it's in. So this is what I'm waiting for now. The safe entry, I mean, this is still dicey entries at best, right? But this is going to give you a good entry here. Because right here, where do you put your stop loss? When you come in, like, it's just, maybe that trend line would have been great. Right below that trend line would have been our stop loss if I had had this trend line drawn in. Or if I would have used the Coinbase feed. I should have been using the Coinbase feed for this sell-off and not the Gemini feed. I might have already made a purchase down here. But that's neither here nor there. What we're waiting for now is this spring to come in and a retest. And what was I was losing my train of thought. Let me go to comments. Losing my train of thought. I need to get the flow, as we say here. You guys can't. Yeah, you can't hear my music. Let's see comments. Anything under 30,000 cheap is cheap, not 55K. Well, I was not a believer in Wyckoff, but I had some powder because of the entire market was watching for it, so I bought the dip on the shakeout. You're welcome, guys. You're welcome, Chody. It's lower low. Equity's looking tiny bit precarious. Not feeling secure. Thinking bottom in yet. Yeah, that's also. This is a valid. I mean, I should be very, very careful with my statements, but please don't just go by because this potentially is a valid spring low on this whole Wyckoff pattern. I was initially looking for it to break down lower and to take out, to do a liquidity hunt like on my Gemini feed. Maybe I just had the wrong feed, but it hit 28,000. So you're gonna have a lot of stop losses below 28,000. So I was waiting for that stop loss hunt. My entry, my buy the dip entry is I still have orders at 26.6 right here, right above that line right there. 26,600 is my buy the dip. I think if you're just going to blindly buy the dip, that's far enough down from this high to that low that you're going to get a bounce, and or if it continues breaking down, it's going to come back up into that level, if not higher. So that's a worthy buy the dip place for me. I'm going to slide my order up now that after doing some analysis here and giving it time to play out. I think, the other thing too to keep in mind, if we put this in the 8 hour, all right, if this corollary plays out, this is, it took from this peak here to the sell-off. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So it's 6 8-hour candles. So that's a day and a half, 2 days. So the bounce should be a couple of days. Well, not a couple of days, a couple 8-hour signals. So through tonight, maybe tomorrow. And then the retest should be tomorrow. So we have time to play this out. So it's going to be 1 8-hour, 2 8-hour, 3 8-hour, 4, 5, maybe 6 8-hour candles, right? So it could be as late as Thursday. And so really by this weekend, you see that, how many 8-hour candles this is to play out. We're going to be right hovering between 30 and 32,000 for the next couple of days, ping-ponging. So you're going to have the opportunity to try to buy into support if this plays out just like this. Otherwise, you're going to have the opportunity to take a resumption trade, up at 33, 34,000. The safest place is obviously to wait for this sign of strength, this breakout range. This is what I tried to play before. Just in case this was it, I tried to play this. I tried to buy as we came into the support right here, and then I got stopped out almost immediately. But in case this was that, and this was like a very small accumulation pattern and we were going to spring out of it, I'll do the same thing over here. But now we know that the spring pattern is it's going to be above this. It's going to be anchored. It's probably going to form right around this January high. And then that'll get you a little, you'll be able to set up, I'll be able to set up scalping, a trade with an entry of 42, say, and a target of 48,000 or something around there, that prime trend line. And, a stop loss down here. So that sets up a favorable risk reward initial trade. If we can if the bear market isn't over and this thing breaks out and it keeps pushing, then we might have some good entries. If not, it's worth scalping. As I've said last night, if we hit this and curl over, I'll be aggressively exiting, and I'll be just watching, and then a break of this, I'll be back in. So in theory, you can see how most likely if we hit this and then roll over, if I exit, say, right here, and then we consolidate under it and break out, at most, I lose just a percent or two on that move, but you're safe, right? You're not just riding it out. That's my plan coming into that prime trend line, and then the 120's right there. They're going to be right there by the time we get there. So yeah, and it's all what we're doing is we're playing this. You go back to 2017. This is, I don't know if we're in the bear market or not. but I don't care because all I'm doing is I'm looking at, I'm looking to play something that looks like this. I'm looking to play a relief rally, a capitulation low, and then a spring out of it and a relief rally. And this would, very similar to our most important trend line in crypto, something like that. You see that level right there? See how that you could have drawn a most important trend line in crypto back in 2017, 2018, and you could have scalped potentially this break right here. I drew this up last night. So if you have a strong downtrend, you're playing. So it's probably this one is what you'd be watching. You're going to play that strong downtrend. You're going to do the same mechanism to trying to find a place that could be a bottom. You're going to enter on this breakout over here, the bounce. This is a big capitulation sell-off. Try to catch this bounce and then exit. So there's your entry, there's your exit, small scalp win. And now you know you're in the bear market and you can start looking for short entries. That's my plan. Simple as that. But yeah, the odds are heavily in the favor of a relief rally in the coming weeks. And then we'll see where that relief rally takes us. I've got this pulled up. Things are turning very red over here. I noticed I just looked over to see comments and I see a bunch of red. So that's about what we should expect, right? We should expect some consolidation here. Following, if this plays out, like I'm not going to follow this blindly, but if this plays out, we could see a bounce up to say 34 and then back down to 30. This is another example of I'm not following this model. If I was following this model blindly, I would have already bought the dip. I would have bought the dip down here already, right? If I would just follow this blindly. I don't follow models like this blindly. I consult them for what might become, but my trading plan is everything I've outlined. So now I'm waiting for after this what looks like a capitulation move based on a lot of things, regardless of this, just looking at... All right, I just lost the stream. I had to restart the stream. All right, are we back? Sorry about that. I think YouTube might have gone offline because it was nothing else broke but YouTube. Can you guys hear me? Is everybody back? Cool. No problem. I think 42, 45K is a good target. I agree with you. It's a good target. It's a great target. Where's that at? Yeah, that's a fantastic initial target. Right now, any entry we take here, we should definitely, be looking at this 40K. That 40K is a January. Yeah, 40K is a January high. Now, I haven't worked in this chart as much. Let me start doing some work on this Coinbase chart. Hold on. This microphone's in my way. I can't type. January daily close high. All right, so that's the daily close, right? So because we ran into resistance, we didn't actually touch this. The peak was right at 42,000 before we started sell-off. The daily close was closer to 41,000. You can see that we didn't hit 42,000. We came into resistance. So I'm going to also err on the side of caution and have a lower resistance. So this daily close is what I'm looking at. And yeah, I mean, a smart way to play this might be to wait for that break retest resumption above 32 and just play that scalp to 40K initially and then take some profit, be very careful, move your stop loss to break even, take a little profit off, something at least like that, and then see if you can't push the trade further or not. Bitcoin broke YouTube. I was never in the military. No. This is my COVID haircut. I normally, for most of my life, being a 90s, I grew up in the 90s mostly, right? So being a 90s kid, I was born in the 80s, grew up in the 90s, early 2000s. So I had like the spiky hair with the white tips, the frosted tips. I was like a Central Texas skateboarder, surfer wannabe. I was a skateboarder because we didn't have, I lived, I guess, on a lake, but we didn't really have a working boat, and water sports weren't really a thing I could do, so I'd rather do water sports. All right, anyway, Slim Shady. I did look, people call me Malibu, hold on. This is my nickname around his, so my real name is Brandon. My nickname is B-Rad because when I first showed up where I live now, I would wear like I used to wear Dallas Mavericks jerseys and a backward. Where's this at? Yeah, this is my telling myself. Open image and new tab. This is my nickname, B-Red. Everybody says I look like that dude, and I used to wear a visor with my white frosted hair sticking out. I didn't wear all the bling though. I didn't do the. For a very short period of time, I had a necklace, like one single silver necklace when I was like 18, 19, but never that far. But it was like a backwards hat with a basketball jersey. I used to play a lot of basketball. All right, that's enough about me. My thoughts on ADA entries. What time is it? I gotta go soon. ADA, I'll be honest with you. You know, as big of a fan as I am of ADA, I'm not looking for any alt entries, period, whatsoever. Right? I'm still waiting for this to bounce. So right now, I feel safer staying entirely focused on Bitcoin and playing this bounce. And then when Bitcoin kind of, you know, at the end of the relief rally, whatever we get, selling my Bitcoin and then analyzing, you know, if we made a really big move on the Bitcoin dominance, then the next sell-off, the next dip, then it may be time to get back into some alts, right? So I expect Bitcoin to outperform the alts, and then I expect Bitcoin to hit some resistance and turn around, whether that be at the end of this relief rally or maybe we get a breakout and come into the prior all-time high, something. And when that resistance happens and we get our next sell-off, I'll take some profit, and then I'll look to rotate that profit that I took into altcoins as the trade sets up. If we have elevated, like this is when I flipped heavy into alts over here, right? And I'm waiting for something that looks like that again. This big run up we had in Bitcoin. I'm waiting for another big run up, maybe to 57, 61, somewhere in that area. So with that perspective in place, this is a trend line I'm watching on Cardano. I'll consider maybe some trade entries when we get outside here. Get outside there, you know, break that downtrend, retake some of these levels, and then maybe it's trade on. If you really just want, if you don't have exposure to Cardano and you want to hold it for the next 4 or 5 years, you could do worse than buying at the bottom of this trend line down here that we just came into, right? You could do worse. Just know that it could go as low as 40 cents. So if we are in the bear market and we do have a really bad sell-off, that's where it's probably headed. So I would leave some dry powder to buy more spot there. You know, at this point, here's basically, this is why I have that line down there. If we are in the bear market and the bear market has started earlier than people expected, which is totally feasible, possible, this is my bear market low target, and this is where I'll be reaccumulating somewhere as we come into this level. I'll watch price action, see what I'll be looking for is something that looks like, yeah, you see this like here? So if I were to draw this line right here from the, so before the bull market last time, right, you had these, you had this low here, so let me just draw a couple lines. This low here, make these white, and then this high here. Okay. Now go over to this price action. You can see in the bear market, that's where we ping-ponged around. So dips below that, and then a recovery, you know, those are areas to look to buy. That's a liquidity crisis. Forget this. This should never have happened, obviously. This was a black swan. So take that out of your analysis. But these little dips like this below, probably good opportunities to add on Cardano. So same thing's going to be true. So this bottom line here is the prior market's equivalent of the green line I just put in for 39 cents. That's where I see 39 cents coming into play. And then potentially as low as 15 cents, I guess. That seems like a stretch, but 20 cents, yeah. Nothing's impossible. There's another level to look for in the coming bear market. All right, so this range is where really, this is where I'd be looking to reaccumulate if we're in the bear market. So just know that if you're looking for long entries, I'm over here going, all right, I don't know if we're going to resume the bull market or enter a bear market. Nobody does. Not a single person knows that. But if we are going to resume, this is probably not a bad place to take a small swipe at an entry, but it's safer to wait until we, you know, really confirm that we're resuming the uptrend, getting on the other side of this trend line, and maybe retaking like some of these levels I have on here. If we're in the bear market, here's your, you know, accumulation range, in my opinion. So that's where I'll be looking to reaccumulate. Okay. No problem. I just noticed that it still had V small amounts of ADA, dot Kraken, didn't sell. We can say, well, we can say a lot smaller now. Yeah, I have all of my big, so I've got Bitcoin obviously in my kind of, never. I'll only sell that Bitcoin, a portion of it, not even all of it, if I know we're in a blow off top and I can, I can do my usual. All right, we're in price discovery, we're in a blow off top. Now I'm going to take that core position off because I know we're coming back down, and I can then accumulate more Bitcoin that way. So the same is true. I have a little bit of Ethereum in a cold wallet, Cardano, Chainlink, and Polkadot, and they're all tucked away, and they're only to be touched if I know we're in like an insane blow off top. Then otherwise I'm just holding them. Frosted tips, probably back. Yeah, great. Thank you. Welcome. Do you think it's possible the GPT unlock increases premium, or is that unrelated? I haven't researched it enough to give a good opinion on it. I've been seeing lots of people comment about it. I need to make sure that I understand like what people are saying. So in my opinion, people who bought in, accredited investors that bought in months ago that are getting their shares unlocked, I don't know how that decreases the premium. I don't understand that, so I need to study that better. It's apparently possible. Data if I have time. Sure. It's probably getting destroyed, I'm guessing. Let's look at it versus the US fiat. Oh yeah, it broke down. Bad. Yeah, so Theta, I mean, probably like Cardano, I bet I could draw a trend line on here that, long term. There you go. But you have a lot of work to do to make sure that you're going to hold that trend line. So you are like on a bit of a trend line here. So again, maybe not the worst place in the world to look at a scalp entry, but to see this little bit of resistance right here, this is going to be strong resistance now that you lost that, because that was strong support. So that's what you're coming back into right there. All right, we back again. All right, Theta, BTC. Are we back now? I keep losing the stream. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. I'm gonna guess that YouTube's having problems because everybody's streaming about Bitcoin right now. Probably a million streams going on. All right, Theta BTC. It's a very different looking chart. Here's the problem with this chart. Just sideways. There's not a lot of edge in this price action here versus Bitcoin. So that's the first takeaway. You probably could have drawn a bunch of patterns on here earlier, and maybe that's one to look at. But the problem is that you've gone sideways. You kind of broke out of it. Maybe come back in to retest that. That's probably the most actionable level I see. And you're right on it right now. Otherwise, apparently it's been a bit since I looked at this chart. Get rid of these. It looks like a false breakout to me, to be honest with you. So, yeah. So you're kind of actually starting to solidify. So this is a false breakout, and you're kind of starting to solidify a slow downtrend, in my opinion. But this is just so sideways. Like, this is not tradable, so I can't give you any intel on it. It's gone literally sideways since March. So not much to look at in my book. Maybe if you're going to use Heath-style principles, you can maybe look at trying to play the balance off of one of these Heath levels. But you just lost this one here. That's the last one. Here's your last Heath level right there. Boom. And then here's your next one over here. So yeah, you're just range bound. There's just nothing to do. There's just no edge at all whatsoever in my book. And you're going to have another resistance come up. Yeah, it's just way too much sideways. All right, moving on. Heath Internet. Health Heath Internet. Happy days. What's the long accumulation level? Can't see it on my phone. I don't know, John, what you're talking about. All right, guys, I'm going to call it early here and probably CHZ. I'll look at CHZ real fast. Chili's. Is that Chili's? Right? Chili's, I believe. Good project, if that's Chili's. CHZ, I think, is Chili's. Hold on. Cool project. You know, sports related, CHZ. Yeah, so sports fan engagement platform, really cool platform. I love it. Great project. So definitely worth tracking. I had some at one point and I sold on this big spike. Yeah, I mean, I had some back here, and that's one of the little small caps I had floating around in my small cap bag, and it got sold and all this. To reaccumulate chilies versus the dollar. Like I said, good project, so I'll definitely spend a minute on this one. Then we wrap up. All right. So you're forming a downtrend. I actually see a bear flag. That's what I see. This is just what I see. A bear flag, and you broke down. So right now is not a time to look to accumulate as you're breaking down with everything else in crypto. Now maybe versus BTC we can look at something. Your accumulation level would be way down here. You broke this. You see this right here? You lost this Heath level right here. Here's your Heath levels on the daily. You lost that one. Now you're headed for this one. Did we get any red? No red candles in there. Hold on. 0 red candles in here. Those are all green candles. I don't know how that's possible. That does not. That's low liquidity for you. That's some weird low liquidity. Here's your next level. So there's your accumulation point right there. If you want to try to reaccumulate some chilies, 5 cents roughly. And we're up at 24 cents. Got a long way to go down. That's what I see. And then CHZ versus BTC. Is it holding up though? Yeah, similar thing to what we looked at. I mean, all these alts are probably gonna look a lot similar. I haven't looked at alts much, but this one might be more of an actual consolidation pattern than the last one we looked at was. I forgot what I don't even know what the ticker was anymore. This might be a bit of a consolidation. The problem is you're too far into it now. You see how you're almost at the very end of this thing? So now it's probably just some sideways action out of here. Sorry, my music stopped on me. All right, so yeah, we've been consolidating. If this is a consolidation pattern, but what I really see more clearly than that is just, it's kind of a downtrend. So I think that's probably the most actionable, and maybe a giant bull flag. If you break this level to the outside here, you could consider this a gargantuan possible bull flag. But I see, obviously, did I point out a bear flag? These lines on here, I can't quite see it. But I see a downtrend, and until you break to the upside of this downtrend, you just got to play it as such. That's what I see. So, all right. I hope those were helped. BTC level you just out. Let's go back to BTC and see what we got. Let's go back. I need to kill this. I'm gonna put my BTC USD. Although I trade on Gemini, I need to be using my Coinbase feed because I think, like I said, it's gonna be more accurate. So for my main trading, this list got all messed up the other day on me. I'm gonna flip to my. All right, you said you're looking for. Bounce off the yearly open. Look at Heath with the epic knowledge over here. The yearly open. Really? Is that what that was? Wow. God, I am so stupid. Why did I not have that on my chart? Thank you, Keith. Brilliant work. Yep, there you go. Heath with the fire. I didn't watch your session this morning. It was too early for me, and I've been busy. I caught a little bit of Jordan's, and I've been busy otherwise. So you probably brought this out this morning. I should probably take time to, yeah, see, that's that yearly open. I'm going to mark that. Thanks, Heath. Yearly 2021, I'm called 2021 open. And let's make, okay, and that line, I'm going to color it. I'll pick a color. All right, perfect. Look at that, beautiful, beautiful actionable intel. Fantastic. That looks like a good place for a spring bottom too for me. All right, well, we'll just watch it from here. Like I said, I'm waiting for Bitcoin. This is the trend line I care about. This one, I'm going to make it a little bit smaller. This one I care about less. You know, if we get some really interesting price action, it may be worth a little scalp. But I'm not going to overthink this trend line. This is the one I care about over here. And this is the level I really care about, 32,000. I will tell you guys, I'm going to slide an order up personally, not financial advice. I'm going to slide an order up and take a stab at 31K here pretty soon. Because with this spring that we got, I bet we're going to come back in at 31K to test it, and I can get out super fast. Like, I'll probably put, my stop will be like, you know, maybe 1,000. So maybe I'll put an order in at 31. The target of this purchase will be that outer trend line over here, this one up here. So my trade idea, if I do that, if I try to take that entry, we're looking at, so this is an idea, not financial advice. My initial order would be, yeah, set a stop right under 30,033, whatever that level is. Gotta do some work on that, make sure I like that level for sure. Coming into 31,000. And my target, I guess, you know, my initial target might be that weekly level. So that's 2 to 1 right there. Seems pretty safe. I'm gonna go ahead and push that. Like I'm gonna, when we hit this weekly level, I'm not gonna take profit. I will probably move stop to break even when we get into this level, and then just have that be a break even trade. I'm really gonna try to ride it all the way to this trend line up here and see what happens. If I were to do that, right? Because I want to push this. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to catch a falling knife. I'm trying to catch the bottom of this capitulation, and I want to be pushing these trades. So I'll be fine with exiting these entries at break even pretty often, and I'm really wanting to get a bigger entry that I can push longer. Maybe I'll, you know, hopefully, ultimately, I want to push it all the way back to this level, right? But initially here, hopefully there, you know, and initially here, this will be I'll move, you know, to break even, and then hopefully we can push it all the way to here, move stop up at a profit, take a little profit into this level, see what happens, re-enter on the other side of this level. But hopefully we can push a portion of that all the way up here. That's my initial, so we'll just leave it there. So yeah, I'll probably play that little move if we get that bounce come back in there. The next move would be, you know, a similar entry if we break this 32. Now if we break 32, you know, then you're going to ride that up to that trend line for me probably, and then put a stop down there. Let's see here if there's another level I need to be looking at. Hold on. Just going to throw in some levels here. Yeah, so you can go all the way up. See this? See that trend line's going to concur with this last bullish candle right here? That entry, there's some resistance like right there though. I don't know if I like that one as much. Yeah, at that point, this is one of those, see, I see resistance right here and right here. At this point, I'm going to wait for it to get outside this, and I'll take my entry off of this trend line. And I'll just wait to go ahead and take that entry outside this trend line and push it to the 40 level. So basically above this little bit of resistance we got right here. And this will be some resistance, but let me draw my Heath lines in here. But, you know, if you get a bounce at this level, I'm pretty confident or comfortable taking an entry on a break of this level and a resumption, a breakout of this trend line maybe, and trying to push it through these two. But maybe your initial take profit, your initial, you should be watching, why is this, you know, starting there up to there. Yeah, I guess if you take that entry, honestly, you know, at that point, you should just wait, take this entry coming in at 35.5. But you can see how it just keeps laddering up. I can see a zone in here where I don't want to take entries. I just want to wait, and it's coming in. Buying off of right now where we're at 32K, I can see that as not a good place to buy just because there's a lot of resistance coming in quick. There's a lot more open air once you get above, outside this trend line and above 35,000. So, but even then, you know, I don't know. The really good risk reward is down here. The good risk reward is anything 31,000, 30,000, 28,000. Try and play those bounces if you're on the other side of this trend line right here. That's my opinion, not financial advice. You're hearing me like walk through this and think through this in real time. Like, all right, what would I actually do? So those levels right there are going to be resistance for us, but we can play those coming out of here. And like I said, this is also what's going to keep it tamped down and give us an opportunity to really analyze. You know, this is going to act as some resistance, so it'll give us some opportunity to analyze, are we really getting resumption patterns, or are we just, you know, really the right move, and I hate to say this, but you got to also think, given the trend we're in, the proper move, and you have to be super careful about playing these bounces, the proper move is to be shorting. See these levels I got? Like this confluence of this right here and this trend line, the right answer is actually to short that right now, and that's what the markets dictates. So color everything I'm saying with that perspective, right? So you really should be shorting this. That's really the right answer. So any balance play is really just a scalp that you're trying to push. All right, that's my thoughts. I'll leave it at that. So just know that I believe the right answer for short-term trading is to short this. But given the pattern that we're in, we're going to get a relief rally at some point, and I'm just looking to try to ride that relief rally. Okay, those are my thoughts. Heath's session on Saturday is one of the best CTMs. Yeah, Heath is adding a lot to the conversation. He's definitely made my trading far better because my support and resistance levels, I'm noticing that when I use like quote unquote Heath levels, they are just so ridiculously accurate. Like before, my support resistance levels were normally pretty close, but sometimes, not quite right on, and it didn't respect them as much as I thought they would. But daily, just basically, I'm just sticking, because my time preference is a little bit longer, right? I'm not trying to intraday scalp. I'm working on longer time frames, so I just use daily levels. And man, the levels have been just off the chain accurate. It's scary. So thanks, Heath, for all you do and all you've added to the community. Yeah, don't ask someone else when to buy and sell. That's exactly right. Like, at the end of the day, this is a competition. I'm competing against everybody who's here on the stream right now. All of you, I'm competing against you. We're all competing against each other. When we go to place our orders, there's only so much money sloshed around the market. I'm trying to take your money, and you're trying to take my money. Ultimately, because there's a much bigger universe of players, having a community to help support each other and get ideas off of each other is beneficial for all of us, because we're such a small subset of the market. But as soon as you enter the arena, it's like a gladiator fest. It doesn't matter if you're using the same trading methodologies or different ones. We're all a bunch of gladiators fighting out the same pool of resources. So, it's for multiple reasons, it's a bad idea to just take what somebody else says and just try to follow that. Unless you're like if you're trading a paper account and you're taking, things that you see on my stream and you're trying it out to see how you like that trading style, that's fine. But with real money involved, you have to make it your own. So you can take everything I'm saying, you can say, you know what, I don't like this dotted trend line here, Brandon's stupid for putting that in there, or you just see something totally different. Like you're like, no, this is the bear market, you need to, like I was like, there's a million things you can do differently than me. But you can take my trend lines, my methodology, my way of thinking about the market, the way I'm trying to manage my trades, and you can take what you like about my approach and adapt it for yourself. That's what this is all about. All right. Thanks, guys. Yeah. Just get in a literal arena. Just forget all this like keyboard warriors on charts, man. Let's just all get in a literal arena and fight it out, and the winner gets all 21 million Bitcoin. Long term on BTC, but I'm looking parts to take profit. Yeah. All right, thanks, guys. Let's wrap up here. Not financial advice taken. Let's wrap up here. Thank you all for joining today. I hope you guys have some good trading. Keep your heads about you. Don't capitulate with everybody else. And let's conquer this thing together. See y'all later. Start that over. fast for T-Carp. I'm sorry. I'll try to remember to say the levels. I was doing that before and I got out of doing live streams. But if you go back and do the replay and pause and reset the video, I streamed in 1080p today, so hopefully 1080p is available. You should be able to see the numbers if you look at 1080p. But otherwise, I'll try to remember in the future to call out the prices.